So this is our Mother's Day episode.
Wow, Mother's Day already.
Yes, I know, right?
Yes.
So let's get our wine. Fit wine.
Cheers.
Cheers. Beautiful.
Always good. Always smooth and fit.
Okay, so this Mother's Day episode, let's have a real conversation about our mothers. We have kind of similar relationships and stories with our mother-daughter dynamic. And, I think a lot of times I see, on social media and a lot of people, talking about their moms and their relationship with their moms.
And it's so beautiful. And then we're like, wasn't like that
and it's
for
not
us?
always beautiful. And I think a lot of people can relate to that. And whether you were adopted or you didn't grow up with your mom, or, there was just, you had a very challenging relationship with your mom.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of share our stories and
let's get deep and get fun.
Yeah. And fun. So let's start with you. Like,
Okay.
What's your story?
My story. Okay. Well, my mom and I did not have a great relationship. I'm just starting to think now, we did not have a good relationship. But I learned as I've gotten older that, how they tell you, like, oh, you'll just know when you get older.
Yes.
I hate that saying. But
I know, I hate it too, but it's very true.
Right. My perception of my mom hasn't really changed. I do forgive her. She was abusive, verbally, physically. However, she was kind to people around her. She did have a kind soul. So what I've learned as I've gotten older is, some people can only love the amount that they know how. And I don't necessarily blame that on my mom. That's just who she is. And I'm okay with it. I look back, I'm like, okay, this is who she was at the time. My mom died at 49.
Young.
Yeah, so young. Before she died, she apologized for everything. And that meant everything to me. So I can peacefully say that I understand where my mom came from, and I forgive her, but I won't forget what I went through, and that's okay because I've used those things to better be like a parent to my children and a wife. So my experience was very turmoil. It was just up and down. School counselors were involved. Police were involved.
Wow.
I've gotten thrown out of the house at 14? I was thrown out, kicked out, clothes and all, kicked out for doing nothing.
Wow.
And I was picked up by the police in the back of a cop car. That was really fun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I was like, why are you picking me up? I got kicked out. They're like, you were called in as a runaway. I was like, I didn't run away. Bull crap. Was kicked out. So there's all that. At one point I brought home great grades, and I was told, what teacher did you sleep with to get these grades?
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was awesome. So that rumor went around school for a little bit. It was like, yeah, I'm sleeping with this teacher, this teacher, this teacher. So a lot of those psychological games went on.
Right.
Which is abuse, just to tear me down. But I don't know if there was a missing love that my mom was missing. So I got through it. Made me who I am. I laugh at it now. Wasn't then, but I laugh at it now.
Right.
So that's kind of a relationship with my mom. Before she died, I kind of stepped away because my mental health was very important to me. I was in college. Actually just got out of college. Was starting my own family at the time. So I made a complete effort to back away from, even though she was passing away, she was dying slowly. I knew our relationship was never going to be what it should be or what I had envisioned it.
Yes.
So I said, I'm going to take the best that I got and remove myself from doing any harm than what I've already become, right? I didn't want to, go into my new family that I was starting with any kind of emotional stress, baggage, scars, anything. And I think that was the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
And I think my mom understood that, and she apologized for everything, and she left on a good foot. Yeah.
Wow. In a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's my story of my mom,
Right.
My mom was a young mom too. My mom had me at 19.
Okay.
Probably didn't live the life that she had dreamt for herself. Mm-hmm. I never, as a daughter, took that away from her. I know that because my grandparents were really involved in my life. Mm-hmm. I just think probably her emotional state was probably, I could do this, but I can't because I have kids now.
Right.
But it's all right.
My story is, I mean, different, but it's similar in the sense that my mom, I've had a very challenging, I love my mom. Love my mom. She's my mother.
I love your mom.
And I,
Yes.
yes, thank you. And she's amazing. But, everyone has their own dynamic with their mother.
Yeah.
And we're all a work in progress. Like, I hope that, I can do better than my mom did. And I hope Bella, as my daughter, does better
than you, or,
so, but I know that when growing up, my mom chose to intentionally emotionally withhold from me. And she told me that, as I got older, because I was like, why would you never, why were you just, wouldn't hug me, wouldn't love me, wouldn't tell me, validate me. Wow. It's just a very empty way of, no
guardianship.
Guardianship.
There's
but there
no
was
love there.
Yeah, and I just was so lost. I felt like I didn't have a mom, and I really wanted to have that experience. So I feel like I tried to growing up, tried to understand why, is it something that I did,
No.
or I tried to earn it, or
Right.
or maybe if I act like this, or maybe if I do that, maybe I can make her, see me more or be proud of me more. And so then I think that taught me that I was wired to believe that love was conditional. And then I, in turn, because I thought that from the relationship that you get with your mom, right? And then that's how I treated myself, And I think it wasn't until I had my daughter that just my heart opened up and I felt that love, for this beautiful baby. And I was like, wow, for the first time, I understand what unconditional love feels like, and I never felt that. And to feel like that for my own child was almost really healing for me. And it taught me how God, loves me, because for a while I thought it was I had to do all of these things and these outward things, but I don't have to. And even with friendships. And so I think that foundational thing, I was really upset with my mom and I had a lot of anger with her for a lot of years. Why did you do that to me? And I had to work on forgiving her because
might be the best that she could have given at that point.
That was the best that she could have done. And when you learn someone's story, I learned that she didn't get that as a child.
Yeah.
Even though my grandparents, her parents were in the home, and they loved her the best they could, but they were emotionally void because of that generation. That generation was just different. Yeah. And so they didn't talk. They didn't, do those things. So she felt like she was alone and she had to figure it out. So a lot of the questions I would ask my mom, why did you do that? She was like, I don't know. That's what my mom did.
Yeah.
And so she didn't even think a different way.
It's the best she knew.
And this was the best she knew. And then she also didn't really fully learn how to love herself and have the proper information or tools. So I think that in learning that about my mom and instead of staying angry, now I'm okay, well, how do I work on myself so that I'm not passing that on to my daughter? And then she doesn't, we need to break this generational curse now, And so it's just like what you're saying, we all are doing the best that we can do. And sometimes a negative can actually be a positive because I think I'm so intentional about self-care and self-work and really
and Bella sees that,
and I hope that she sees that.
Sees it. Yeah.
But in being self-aware, and intentional with her, so that she doesn't have to start off how I did, because that's like that relationship and everything that's set up in your childhood sets you up for the rest of your life.
It really does.
Every relationship. And I could have definitely
friends and boyfriends,
all of it, and just how you love yourself.
Yeah.
You can't properly love. I couldn't properly love myself until I did that work. Until I figured out, wow, I only love myself conditionally. Mm-hmm. Like I don't love myself when I'm going through like something bad. I'm only like that's not. That, I had to rewire, like I had to change that whole thought process. And so.
But you did it before Bella. So, now.
Well, I didn't do it before Bella. I did it.
During,
like when I had her, I feel like that's when I really understood what,
when she was an infant.
Yeah, when she was an infant, when she was a baby. And so
you've raised her with that intention.
Yes, so I raised her with that intention.
Instead of bringing that kind of caged bird into the room. That's great.
Yeah, so that is, taking a negative and turning it into a positive.
Because you were pretty independent, pretty young.
Yes.
So was there anyone that you found to be that mother figure that you had kind of like was attracted to, that you worked with, that kind of filled that void?
Yes. So I feel like because I was, searching for like, what is like this mother, like, I would take certain qualities like Tisha Campbell, was my mom on My Wife and Kids. So when I was a teenager, she was there and I saw the type of mother, just a strong woman, right. That she was, and different qualities on that. And I feel like God had always placed certain people on my path, different women, strong women, and
with different qualities
that I could see and admire and take from that and learn notes. Like, okay, that's how you're supposed to do that. And in different seasons.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I think that has been a very good teacher.
Yes. But it just proves that even though you might not have that relationship with your own biological mother,
right,
there are things that are placed in your life along the way.
Yeah.
That can't, take a little bit from here,
Right.
It's so important. And but be aware that they're there. Don't just think like, oh, I was given this mother who can't do anything.
Right.
No, but there's people out there that can fill that void.
Yeah, and I think that another thing you said that was really important is that, well, for me, it was really important to, like, you let go of the expectation of what
they should be.
What they should be, or what your idea of what they should be. And then that really can go across the board with anything. Like, because we really place sometimes unrealistic expectations
100%. On everything.
On everyone. And no one can live up to your ideal, whatever that is. And so I think for me, I had always, wanted this, like, this relationship with my mom that I had like this fantasy over.
Right.
And it wasn't until like not too long ago that I just finally accepted I'm not going to get that. This is what this is. And making peace with that.
It's okay.
And so then when these holidays or when these things, happen, or, then it's not like a trigger. It's not like anymore, because it's like I've let go of that expectation and I made peace at what she has given me, what she has taught me. Because sometimes things are there to be a lesson and a teacher. And I don't think if I had a different mother that I would have been so intentional about being the mother that I am.
Exactly.
And of the work that I've done on myself.
Yep.
So
that's why I'm like, I can't.
So
I wouldn't take back. Like, even though it really was terrible in those times and those moments and things that happened to each of us, I don't know if I would take it back.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, I thank you, Mom.
Yeah.
But it's a different, like, this holiday is always different.
It is.
It's
very
not like,
different.
Mom and I are best friends. Because no, we are not.
Right. Yeah.
I tell my mom everything. No, I really couldn't.
Yeah. And it's sometimes you're, like, yep.
I'm on it. Right? So now, I mean, going into us being mothers, this holiday for sure is definitely, it's it's not about me and my mother.
Right.
So Mother's Day to me means it's all about me and my daughter.
Yes.
Or my kids, I should say. But yeah, so this holiday is something, it means something different. It's me and my kids.
Yes.
Where a lot of people, it's them and
their mom.
Their mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Same here. My this Mother's Day is about me and my daughter and making memories with her and celebrating that. And okay, so now let's talk about motherhood.
Oh God. You start.
Definitely need a glass of wine for that.
Oh my God.
So, you know, people always say, you know, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that when I'm a mom.
Please.
And the reality is
they're only going to eat organic. No McDonald's ever.
Yeah.
My kids live off of McDonald's pancakes, by the way. They love them.
It's just
but I did too.
Like there's no amount of books that you can read.
No.
There's no advice from someone that you can get that is going to prepare you for motherhood, because you're going to get a different child and a different.
Yes.
And I also think children are your best teachers too, because they bring out, you know,
they're psycho in that.
They're psycho in
it.
But but it's like, you know, they are their own people, their own personality. And sometimes you have to adjust to that. In my experience, my daughter has a very strong personality.
Your daughter and my son.
Yes.
God.
So it is like, whoa, like, I'm like, why can't we just all just chill? Like chill. No such thing as chill. With my daughter.
Level 100.
Level 100 all the time. But she's amazing. Her mind is always going. She's
They're
brilliant.
one step or two ahead of us.
Yeah, one step or two. So it causes me to, you know, have to do more self-work.
Yep. Bite my tongue.
But I think in motherhood, where this generation might be different than the previous generation is, you know, like Bella, like someone would tell her, like, just shut up and be quiet and sit down, you know, like that's kind of how we were taught as children, you know. But I think that where we are is like recognizing like some of those things are actually strengths and cultivating those things that can maybe seem negative, but in a positive direction, you know, reaffirming them and kind of guiding them in the right, like, positive way.
Use that
because they're a part of their calling.
Yeah.
Like for my daughter, she's very strong, very opinionated, very passionate.
Oh, she'll be fine out in the world.
She's like loves, you know, standing up for people and injustice. Sometimes, you know, she will actually get in trouble with it because she's so passionate, but that is going to serve her well later in life, you know, to be a strong and assertive woman in a male-dominated, you know, workplace, or, you know, so
heck yeah.
So it's just about kind of
don't put out that fire. No,
you know.
I mean, although we hate it,
right? So it's like teaching her when that's appropriate and when it's not, and not just shut up and you know, and don't, you know, just not like, I don't know.
Get her on the debate team. She debates.
So I think that's a part of, like, I think this motherhood that is really cool and interesting.
Yeah, it's fun.
And
exhausting.
also I think, you know, it is depending on the personality that you get. Like, I never thought that I would have to talk about sex
so
young. My mom, this is what my mom told me.
Okay, oh God.
My mom told me, don't have sex. Like, I think everyone has AIDS. And, like, don't have a boyfriend. Like, just, and I was
Mom.
like.
She scared you into not. She scared you into not.
I was like, oh my God, I can't go out. I can't go out. Don't have a boyfriend. Don't talk to boys.
No.
You talk to boys, you might get pregnant. Like, she just told me crazy stuff that it was so crazy that it was like, I was in fear until I finally, you know, heard conversations at school, and it was like, that's like the wrong way, right?
Yeah, because your friends are telling you something different. And
yes,
like,
and then it's like, and then it's the strong opposite. So then you're gonna test, right? You're gonna get curious because. So I think my approach to parenting might be a little bit different if I had it, depending on, I only have one child. So on Bella's personality, I can be very direct with her. And because in my situation, she it lives in 2 homes. Her dad and I are divorced.
You have to be open about that, especially with 2 different environments and groups of people around.
Right. And as I've talked about before, like when I was a child, I was sexually abused. So I've always been very open about, you know, who touches what parts of the body. No one touches, you know, like this is Bella's body. No one, you know,
part of motherhood.
I know. And like since a baby, that was something we always talked about you know, but I just wanted her to get that in her mind that is her property and no one is to touch it. Even if she felt uncomfortable with me touching it, I wanted her to speak up and have a voice of her own, you know, and know that that's okay. So
very open right away.
He said,
I'm not at that stage yet. I'm there. It's probably this week, actually. Then
so I had the conversation when Bella was 8.
Oh, well, okay. So I probably should because my son's 9 and he's walked in on me.
Well, see,
now it's time. Now he looks at me and my husband and he goes, "You guys are sus. You guys are really sus." I'm like, just take the image out your head.
But see, this is the reason why I did it is because I know that she was going to go to school and they were starting to talk about it. I think there was a show that she was watching and I knew that all of the kids in her class were watching it. And so, and they were going to be talking about certain topics. Yeah. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I don't want her to know the wrong information. Exactly. I would rather open up the conversation and the dialogue, and so that she can ask me and feel free. Like, this is not taboo. It's not like something that's off limits. Don't make it totally normal. So that she ever had any questions, that, you know, she heard it from me first. This is what we believe.
Right.
And this is the truth. And that's what it is. And so she was just sitting there. Like, she was like, wow, you know, and
great. I mean, oh God, I don't like this part of
But I will tell you, the greatest thing is that I said, don't tell your friends. Like, this is a conversation between me and you. We're having.
You could tell them what's accurate.
But I said, their mom and dads have their conversations with the other kids. Like, don't go to school, like, telling everyone what we talked about, right? So she would come home and she would say, oh my gosh, Mom, they think having sex is like when you kiss on top of each other or like different things. But I had told her, like,
it was that easy.
Like, yeah, like what
it calories.
But what it was. And I think from then, like, now she's 12.
Yeah.
Totally open with me about, like, you know, crushes and just asking different questions about things. But I think that's important to establish that truth. And that's something that I didn't have with my mom at all.
I didn't either. And I met a boy at 14 and I ended up marrying him. but I didn't have time. But I was a very good girl.
But you're still married.
I'm still married to the same guy, and I was a very good girl. I never had that conversation with my mom ever.
That's a blessing.
I was a very good girl. I got married young. I met him at 14. Got married at 19. Married 20 years.
Well, it's a blessing.
Married 20 years. That is a blessing. But some of these kids, what motherhood doesn't teach you is they need to be told now, especially with...
Right.
Okay, let's just step back for a second. Because this type of motherhood in this generation, or I mean, what we're going through now, we have so many pieces to the puzzle. We have freaking social media.
Yes.
There's nothing censored anymore.
Right.
So we're having to have these conversations a lot earlier.
Yeah.
In very... not G-rated conversations. Like, these are like straight to the point conversations.
I had a straight to the point conversation with her because I know with there's social media, there's your friends, there's the TV shows, everything is out there. And it's
everything's out there.
And it's almost taking away our rights as parents because you, like, as much as you want to shield them from that, like, someone else's so-and-so's kid at that school has seen it.
And so even if you shield them, it's like, it's not yet.
That's what I mean. Like, I guess, like, until they're a certain age. And then, like, a lot of these things have, like, TV 14. It's like, okay, well, I mean, but if I turn on the TV, you know, she turns on the TV right now.
Some of those 14
it's on already. It's already
on there.
And music videos. So it's just like, it's really like you can't escape it. I think my approach to parenting before I was actually a parent was completely different than what it is now. And I think you have to just flow with society, culture.
You do.
You have to take into all that consideration. And in my situation, divorce. So there's different conversations that I have to have with her.
It's constantly changing.
And the child that I have. Like I have a child who is like, her mind is curious.
Yeah.
And so she can understand, you know, what I'm talking about. And I do want to have the type of relationship with her that she doesn't feel embarrassed to talk to me about anything and establish that, whether it's with sex, dating, or just friendships or anything. You know, and I think the more real and honest you are and the truth, then they can trust you. That's the
beauty of the semi-non relationship that you didn't have with your mom that you're giving to Bella.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, thank you.
But it is.
Yeah.
Like, we need to, I'm telling everyone out there, if you don't have that mother figure that you think, like you said, ideal, we put, you know, these expectations.
Right.
But when you look deep down, there's a positive in that.
There is a positive in that. Right? Yeah, there is.
Right?
It is. No, there absolutely is. And I think the older I get, the more appreciative I get of that perspective.
Because maybe we needed that.
Yeah.
Maybe we weren't here to have the mother that, you know, maybe we weren't here for that.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And that is okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're just here trying to raise these badass kids.
But I think it's also important on Mother's Day to celebrate ourselves. So I think a part of that of this past year for me has been learning to nurture myself.
Yes, and I've seen you doing that.
Mother yourself.
Yes.
And so even if you didn't get what you like, you're never going to get everything that you need.
No,
Bella's not going to.
In all life.
In all life. But it's important to self-care, nurture yourself, give back to yourself, and celebrate, you know, the women that we are and how far we've come.
So we should say Mother's Day should just be about mothers.
It should be about us.
Just us. What'd I say the other day? F them kids.
Oh my gosh.
You know I'm just joking. We love our children. But you know what I mean.
Yes.
We should really...
Yeah.
It's about us. How far we've come. Whatever situation we came from.
Right.
Celebrate us. We're doing a pretty darn good job.
We are.
Yeah.
Doing a good job.
You're doing a good job too.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day. Let's sleep in.
Definitely.